Hey, what is up, guys? And welcome back to another Magic the Gathering online league. We're back with Simic Broodscale on the draw for game 1 for a Catacomb fetch of Run Tomb into Thoughtseize. No, a halfling, okay. Well, I liked your idea so much that I think I'm going to join you. And pass. And pass. So I'm thinking, I guess we could go Urza Saga. Otherwise, we could go Yawgmoth, Rumble, and then another Halfling. Right now, we're trying to angle for Broodscale, of course. Oh, Underground Mort. 2 mana. I'm going to guess this is Yawg. Would be my thought. Paying cost for Ballista. Okay. Ballista X1 draw. Well, there's the Broodscale. So in that case, let's start off with Rumble. I think we do grab... So actually, I guess that's an interesting question. We could grab a second Broodscale, but we do need a payoff, so let's grab Flesh Rake. I will... You could play Yawgmoth and Ramp, because we're going to need 2... I guess actually, let's see. Trying to think of how much mana I need to guarantee, because if they just ping down to spawn, then we're in trouble, right? 2, 3, 4, and a spawn. Otherwise, I need 6. And 2, 3, 4, 5. If we go Flesh Rake, though, 3 down to 2, 2. So I'd still be short, even with 5. So I think we need to play the Blade, right? Yes, I think that's correct. So in that case, let's go Saga. Cast Blade. And hold. This could be Golgari Broodscale, maybe? But I definitely think this is Yawgmoth with Ballista. Boseiju. Surprised they didn't hold that for the Blade. That's peculiar. Paying cost for what? A Yawgmoth would be a problem, admittedly. Green Sun Zenith X equals 3. Grist. Okay. I don't think that's enough. That should mean that the window's open for me to win next turn. Unless they ping the spawn with the Ballista. And I specifically need to do that. I guess the thing is, of course, if I play the Broodscale, they do that, then I'm SOL. I can't actually win next turn. Draw. Saga trigger. Well, actually, hold on. We have access to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, there's an idea. So we can equip the blade to Broodscale, then adapt. They have no opportunity to respond. We then can go off from there. Okay, yeah, we win. So we have a Maya. So I will sack the spawn instead of equipping and then sacking spawn. We're going to sack the spawn, equip, then adapt. Trigger. Always yield. Equip. Adapt. Always yes, always yield. So there's now no room for them to interact. Whereas if I'd gone the other way to try and equip it, then they would have... I guess I could have still done that and would have forced the ballista, right? Yeah, so I guess it didn't matter if I just played the Broodscale, equipped, and attempted to blade. Then we still could have... Yeah, I guess it didn't matter in that case. As long as I kept up a green source, basically, to adapt. Though I guess this way just guaranteed there's no real room for interaction. Me thinking I was being smart, but, I mean, it didn't really matter. Alright. Well, definitely Yawg. Thief of Existence can hit Grist. It can also hit Eye of the Soul Cauldron. Grafdigger's Cage is good. We already have where is it? Soul Guide Lantern. Did I not put Soul Guide in here? Oh, I did. So we can cut Haywire Might. Just put in a bit more Grave Hate main. Dismember seems reasonable. And the question just is Thief over TKS. I mean, TKS can be good to disrupt. It does exile. Thief specifically deals with Grist, but is Grist that much of a threat? If it's on board, we can play around it. So I think we just keep it as is then. Yes. Yes, let's do that. You guys also could bring in Wasescape, trying to play around Oof. Yeah, Oof would be something to also consider here, but I mean, we have Dismember in, we have Ballista, we have K-Command. This hand's a bit meh, right? I mean, what makes this hand better? E-Temp, so that's 4 hits. That's kind of it. Rumble wouldn't be bad, but it wouldn't be great either. 7 hits. Yeah, I think we mulligan this. Saga, Halfling, and Rumble. So we, for all intent and purpose, have access to the blade. We're just looking for Broodscale. We can keep this. Pitch K-Command or another Saga? I'm going to say K-Command. And pass. We're short on lands otherwise, I think is my biggest concern there. Underground Mort. Okay. We also have to play around Force of Vigor, which is a bit awkward. Draw. Forest. Right now we have 8 hits off the top since we're looking for the combo pieces. Tease a Halfling. And pass. Saga also gives us K-Command X equals 1 next turn if needed. Or Wall of Roots. Can't do much with that. I'll absolutely go after the Yawgmoth though. Draw. Boseiju. Urza Saga trigger. K-Command, Ramp, and Exile. And done. And pass. And hold. Averting cat. I mean, there's a thought to just going construct beats here. You can play the Rumble, still play construct. They have Aggie, that's fine. 2 mana. Averting cat fetch for forest, double green. Ballista ping spawn. Or Ballista ping halfling. Ballista ping spawn, sack and response. At this point you pass in full. Yep. And draw. Trigger. Well, just making a construct here feels arguably worse, just because now we would, whatchamacallit, it would just die to Ballista Ping. So let's start with Rumble. Well, there's Blade. I'm half tempted to go for Ballista instead. Like, we're guaranteed a Blade otherwise. Though I guess we could go Blade, have it as backup, and then Rumble again. Try and find Broodscale. Let's go Blade. Forest. Rumble number 2. Yeah, I'll grab the Emrakul at this point. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 15 with the, whatchamacallit, Springleaf Drum. So we should be able to play Emrakul next turn. We'll hold. 3 cards, 2 cards, tapped. That's a good indication they don't have too much here. And I guess they could take a type from my yard. Ping. Should have sacked in response, to be fair. Target my halfling. Still 7 types in yard. You could ping again. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So we still have the Emrakul. That's what they're trying to play around right now. Really, no ping. Okay. Trigger. Float. Springleaf. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I will Ancient Stirrings to start. There's the Broodscale. It only has 1 counter. I'm going to go Broodscale. I'm going to play the Boseiju. Oh, I need to do this first. There's Emrakul. Because this will allow us to clear the way for Broodscale. 1, 2, 3, 4. What this? Force of Vigor. Okay, so we did play around Force of Vigor. Good stuff. Pings me for 1. And Hapatra. He's a 2/2. Draw. Whenever Hapatra deals combat damage to a player, combat damage. That is important. There's Beseiju. I mean, I can Beseiju my Beseiju and then grab Breeding Pool. Draw. I don't think there's a reason to play the Hapatra, right? Wallaroots we can... Let's see. I could minus down to 2, ping itself for 1. Doesn't really do too much, though. So... I guess actually I suppose I could put 2 counters on it, but then I wouldn't be able to... Actually, yeah, I have the Soul Cauldron. I suppose I have to grab my Ballista, which is fine. Yes. Put a counter on Wallaroots. I can then tap it for mana. I can then discard Beseiju my Beseiju. Yes, I do wish to use the ability. Breeding Pool tapped. And then I'm going to put another counter on Wallaroots. And then going to remove a counter, ping self. And remove a counter, ping self. So then Wallaroots is out, leaving just Hapatra, and we pass. Okay. Next turn, we can Urza Saga. Now I can play the Broodscale, I can equip it, but I can't then adapt. Yawg's a bit late to the party. We can do something fun with Broodscale, actually. And draw. They actually could have played the Patra, funny enough. So they have a Patra. Urza Saga, trigger. So we play Broodscale. We play the Blade. We equip Broodscale. And then I will attack with Emrakul and pass in full. Down to 6. And pass. So now we actually kind of have an interesting situation of active player and non-active player. Let's see if the opponent pays attention to it. One card in hand, and that's a Patra. They can't put a -1/-1 counter without sacrificing. They have no sack fodder. So this should just be the game. I don't think there's any creatures to Feed to act the Soul Cauldron. Oh, Dryad Arbor. Yeah, that'll do it. You only have 5 life, though. Okay, so here we go. Active player, non-active player. And this is important. So they're kind of trading one issue for another. So now you can remove both counters from Hippotra Yawg. You only have 3 draws, though, so you can't kill Emrakul reasonably. You have no mana. You can only do this 3 more times. So what's the end goal here? As long as Emrakul's a 1/1, I win. Okay. And you're down to 1. So now what's the question? You have no way to gain life. And Bone scoops it up. Alright, we got there. Solid win against Yawgmoth. Well, we'll be back for match number 2. Alright, we're back for match 2 on the draw for game 1. I mean, we're looking for Broodscale. So turn 1 Ancient Stirrings, turn 2 Flesh Rake, we find the Broodscale, we win if they have no interaction. Opponent's down to 5 cards. Yeah, I think this might be my final version of Broodscale for Simic. I think the main difference for Gruul is just Chrysalis over TKS. Lab, Emrakul, looks like E-Ramp. Okay. Gemstone a bit late to the party, friend. TKS or Blade or Yawgmoth. I mean, we can go TKS and pass. So we'll go Flesh Rake, likely into TKS. We also could go Cake Man X2 on 2. A little bit worried about a Karn here, but looking like a Cake Man X equals 2 coming up. And pass. Let's see the Cake Man X2 on 2. I mean, worst case scenario there would be either World Breaker or Sowing Mega Spawn Kick that might E-Temp. It sets me back quite a bit. Yep. Here's the Cake Man as expected. Bottom draw. We'll pass him full. Let's see what you got. Gemstone Caverns. It's looking very similar to my list. I wonder what this is. That'd be wild. There's 6, so I Mega Spawn kicked. Yep. That is unfortunate. So no TKS. Instead we go Saga towards Blade. And then we try and ramp into TKS. Commercial District. I think I'm on Hedge Maze, so this is probably a Gruul version. Maybe more similar to Chris MTG's or to Micros. Foothills. Saga Trigger. Bladed Bloodchief. Always yield. Always yield. Bladed Bloodchief. And pass. No attacks. And hold. Ancient Stirrings. Definitely not one of my lists. I wouldn't be caught dead of Ancient Stirrings. E-Temp. E-Temp is fine. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Close to Emrakul. Red. Is this a K return? It's a Chrysalis. Chrysalis is fine. I will pass in full 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So we do need to actually K command out their yard. Otherwise, we're in trouble. So best thing we can hit off the top, of course, is a Broodscale. You can attack for 3 if you want. Yeah, down to 17. Draw. TKS. So, let us play Wooded Foothills. And then I am thinking we can K command. Oop. So I'm thinking we K command X equals 3. On one hand, I kind of want to dig for the Broodscale. I mean, we'd be able to actually make it work, yeah. So I think we dig for the Broodscale. On end step, they're going to grab the Emrakul. So they're going to grab it back. No attacks. In response, fetch. Forest. K command X equals 3. Ramp and 1, 2, 3. Done. And done. Always yield. Soul Guide Lantern bottom. Malevolent Rumble and Ancient Stirrings. I only have 2 green sources. I guess we have 3 with Springleaf. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 mana to work with. Top draw. And pass in full. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 3 short. Attacks. How big can they make this Chrysalis, actually? I have some mild concern. So we're at 13, 13, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Yes, we're fine. Okay. Down to 11. K return? No, something else. K command? Sire. Yep, don't care. Draw. Trigger. Float. Springleaf Drum. Green. Dig 5. Broodscale. Any order. Cavernous Souls. Broodscale. Trigger. Equip. And equip. Sack. Triggers. 7. Always yes. Always yield. Let's do it twice as fast now. And opponent's trying to figure out they scoop. Alright, solid win against Eldrazi Ramp. Alright, let's go sideboard. So, don't like Damping Sphere here. Based on the build, I'm doubtful we see Karn. Dismember's not it. The Wastegate Battle Mage, I guess there's some benefit to Wastegate and Thief. Haywire Might similarly has its merits, as it can get rid of talismans or can get rid of Utopia Sprawls. I'm trying to think of the hate normally brought in this matchup. Obviously there's Karn, but I don't expect that in this matchup based on the build that we saw. Disruptor Flute sometime soon. Yeah, so I think we might want Thief. Yeah, let's take Thief, and we'd also have to worry about Dismember, even if they have 1 mana up. So, cut Fleshraker, cut Ballista. Soul Guide's good here. Like I said, Might's decent. I guess cut a TKS here, and then hold TKS and run it back. Let's do that. I guess is Thief better than Wastegate in this instance, though? I guess Thief is the safer option in case they do actually run Karn. Yeah. We'll keep this. And pass. We do need a green source, admittedly. Ancient Stirrings. We could go Saga on first, but I think we go Eldrazi Temp and then Soul Guide their Ancient Stirrings out. Yeah, that seems right. Commercial District. Draw. Oh, well, now we just need a green source. That's all we need. In that case, I think going Saga is better here for the Springleaf. Yes. So Saga. Soul Guide. Don't want to play the Blade too early, I don't think. And pass. And pass. There's the district. Yeah, so we have the win on 3. Draw. Another Blade, trigger, E-Temp, Fleshrake. Pass. And pass in full. I guess we should hold just because we do have the ability to activate Soul Guide Lantern to clear their yard if needed. And if they go shields down, we win. Ghost Quarter. Ghost Quarter can hit the Saga, but funny enough, that doesn't stop me. That actually helps me. Funny enough. Draw. Trigger. Float. Second Broodscale's back up. Springleaf. So I will start with Blade of the Blood Chief. Trigger. Always yield. Disruptor Flute. Okay, so now we need to find a way to get rid of Flute. Also, we have Might. Always yield. It's mana neutral, so I'm fine with this. In that case, green, tap. Sacrifice, trigger, yield, rumble. I mean, yeah, I think we just go for another Flesh Rake at this point. Flesh Raker. You can't play Blade because of the tax. You could always attempt to draw a card off of Soul Guide. Try and find a land. Yeah, I guess we haven't hit our land drop is the only downside to not grabbing that temple earlier. Let's draw a card. There's the Haywire Might. Okay. Attack. Down to 14. I do need a green source, though, in order to play the Might and the Broodscale. Is the only problem, because Might is mana positive. Broodscale is mana neutral, but does require a green source, so we do need 2 green sources in order to make that work on the next turn. A K return would be pretty brutal, though, admittedly. Passing, draw. Okay, there's the forest. So we could go the Broodscale first. Broodscale triggers. Sack spawn. K return. Might. Triggers. The problem is here that you just die to Flesh Rake if you do nothing. If you do something, we grow the Broodscale, and then we can go after you that way. Yeah, they kind of realize at this point they need to do something here. So we can save the Broodscale. So green, tap, I suppose, Broodscale, adapt, always yes, always yield, triggers. resolves, kills the flesh rakes, triggers on the stack. Might hits. And I'm pretty sure I'd need to sack the spawn in order for the blade, so we're not going to do that. I'll just pass at this point. Wanted foothills fetched down to 3, tapped, and pass. You have a backup Broodscale, lab, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So they're short of 7 and retriggering the K return. So my Mega Spawn is fine. Yep, that's a-okay. So we have the win. Because we have a second blade, which can make both the... I can make the Broodscale infinite, can make the spawn infinite. Yes, I think I should be able to make this work. Yeah, because if I go... Well, I guess I need a land. Yeah, I need a land off top to have 2 attackers, because I want this spawn here and not have to sack it. If I can accomplish that, I'm good. If not, though... then they'll just block the Myco spawn. Yeah. I mean, I'll have a board state of a million tokens, right? Draw. Thief. 1, 2, 3. I actually can't tap for colors, but I have 3, so it wouldn't matter too much. But then I need to sacrifice something. So in that case, Haywire Might will... Well, I guess actually... Haywire Might can tap itself for green to exile the Flute. So Flute is exiled. And then I can equip the Blade. Trigger. And then equip the blade. 7. Oh, pay 1 mana. Right. I'm going to make a million tokens. So more or less just kind of describing what I'm going to do. Trying to think of like what their out would be, because this is bigger than what Emrakul can get. They won't be able to K return. Trying to think of what the thought process would be now. K command doesn't cut it. I mean, if they have Karn, then there's EE, of course. So I think we just go to 10. Like, we at least want them to be 13/13s, I suppose. And then equip you here. Sorry, I'm not exactly sure how you kill me from here. Don't know the deck too well. I can't kill you this turn, but you can't deal with a million tokens. Yep, they said GG's. Yeah, but opponent realized that 2 blades is a win condition. That's something that a lot of people don't realize, that you can just from there make 1,000,000 tokens, make them 1,000,000. Your brood scale is 1,000,000. Unless you have a way like a true sweeper, you can't do anything. So, solid win against the Eldrazi Ramp. Alright, well, we'll be back for match 3. Alright, and we're back for match 3 on the draw for game 1. What makes his hand good? I mean, specifically Broodscale. Sure, so 4 hits there. Malevolent Rumble, 3. Ancient Stirring, so Broodscale 4, Rumble 7, Ancient Stirring's 11. I mean, yeah, we'll keep it. Not my preferred hand, but we have enough hits off the top where I feel comfortable. Ooh, okay, less comfortable. I'm feeling less comfortable all of a sudden. I don't know why. He is a Ragavan. Yeesh. E-Temp. Soul Guide Lantern. We hit nothing, but it is what it is. We hold. Mr. Monkey Man's gonna hit a Broodscale, Malevolent Rumble, or Ancient Stirrings. And TKS. Okay. Draw. Traverse. Ooh, Traverse is interesting here, actually. In that case, I will play Urza Saga. Trigger. Because we can get to Traverse Delirium off of Saga and K command alone. And we'll pass and hold the K command. Fetch Wooded Foothills. Thundering Falls tapped. 4 in hand. The main thing I'm worried about right now, of course, is a Stubborn Denial. Four in hand. Blue, red, Draco. In order to deal with the Ragavan, I have to cast this now. Ramp in Exile. Otherwise, it will have Hexproof. Done. Do you have the Stubborn Denial? You do. We pass in full. I cannot pay. It still goes to the yard, though, which is important. Okay, I'll take the 2. What do you hit? Of course you hit the Broodscale. Draw. Trigger. Springleaf. We'll have First Strike. So I'm thinking we go Breeding Pool Shock or Yawgmoth. I will play Yawgmoth. So we can make a 2/2, block the Ragavan, or we can Besage the Leyline. I think we just make a 2/2, block the Ragavan, and draw. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 2, 1. Yes. So we do have enough mana. The problem is we don't have a payoff, so we need to draw into a payoff. Otherwise, we just have a big Broodscale and that's it. I guess we can draw one more card off the Soul Guide Lantern. Springleaf Drum can give us a colored source if we do draw into, let's say, an Ancient Stirrings Malevolent Rumble. The next concern, of course, is that they have 3 cards in hand. Could be Bolt, could be Stubborn Denial. I guess Stubborn Denial is not an issue. Leyline Binding. Leyline Binding, Bolt. are the two major concerns. Yeah. And they have enough treasures as well. Oh. Yeah, like I said, I think he'd block the Ragavan. And then we go for the Traverse. Oh, one issue though. I would need 3 green, wouldn't I? Traverse, Broodscale, and... Oh, no. Maybe I should have played the Springleaf instead of blocking the Ragavan? That's a thought. Then think about. Yeah. Oof. Okay. So, probably should have played the Springleaf. Go to blocks. Block. Down to 12. 3 in hand. Draw. You have a Maya. Float. There's Blade. So again, we can traverse. Oh no. Well, can I do it? Traverse. Broodscale. But then we have nothing after, that's the problem. Damn, yeah, I should have played the Springleaf. Should have played the Springleaf. Instead of blocking the Ragavan, would have went down to 10. Oh, no. And we're short. I could sack the Soul Guide Lantern, try and draw into Broodscale. But then we'd only have 4, which isn't enough. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10, 9. So not enough for Emrakul either. In that case, play Springleaf. Play Yawgmoth. Hold from there. Fetch Flooded Strand. Lush Port. Kavu to Yard. And again, hold. Take 6 down to 6. Not much to do about that. Yawgmoth, that's fine. Yeah. Green, red, Kavu. Tribal Flames. Am I dead? I'm not. End step. 1, 2, 3, 4. In that case, I'm going to draw off of the Soul Guide. Bolt. Wait, weird. I mean, it works. I guess I could have Besage you. Would have mitigated any damage? No. I think I'd like Besage you the ley line. Draw. Oh, no. Yeah, I mean, Ballista may have not been on top after the Traverse. But yeah, I should have played the Springleaf instead of holding up for the Construct, because that would have then given me enough green mana to traverse, to cast Broodscale, to adapt, and then draw off of the Soul Guide in an attempt to find a payoff. Now, they had the Bolt in hand and enough mana to cast it, so it's likely that it would have died regardless, but it was a missed line. Alright. So we want Wayscape Battle Mage, that is for sure. We want this member. We can cut TKS. We can cut Gemstone. We could bring in some number of Springleaf. Soul Guide's good here. Might's okay. It really only hits Binding and Leyline of the Guild Pact. But which isn't bad. So I think we keep this then. Yeah, that seems good. On the play for game 2. And all we're missing is the green source. Mulligan's a 6. See, I don't want to cycle the K command if I don't have to. Leyline the Guild Pact. So I think we just go Soul Guide. That way you can basically cycle that next turn. And pass. Red, Ragavan. Well, now I kind of want a K command. Rumble, rough draw. Green source. Saga trigger. Cast Blade, because we can always grab another one if we need. We'll pass. We have the K command next turn, but again, I'd kind of like to hold it if possible. Ragavan hit's going to hit a forest, or forest equivalent. Yep, you know, it's what Ragavan does. Without fail. Green, red, Kavu, holding up 1 draw, trigger. Okay, so we now have a different payoff in Ballista. We can instead command Scrydraw Ramp. Or I can command Exile Ragavan and Scrydraw. I guess the ramp would allow me to go... actually, yeah. Okay, I have an idea. If we go with Springleaf, you get our green source. But we'll need a spawn. That's telling of something. So they have a consigned memory in hand right now. They didn't fetch until right now. Keeps it on top. Land. 3 in hand. So I'm going to exile Scrydraw. Hit the Ragavan. Let's eat the consign that they've demonstrated they have. Yep, there's consign. 2 cards in hand. We'll take 7 down to 11. Kavu, exile K command. Ragavan hits, another K command, we draw. Trigger. Flesh Rake. Float for Springleaf. Cast Flesh Rake. See if you have another consign. Springleaf for green. Tap. And Ancient Stirrings. Red Bolt. That's fine. Blade Trigger. I need a land here, please. There's a forest. Any order. The only problem is right now I only have access to 4 mana, so we can trigger the Broodscale off of the Ballista, but then what? Ooh, not to mention we're about to take 7 down to 4, so 1 Tribal Flames wins them the game. Fetch, Surveil, keeps, oh no, puts it into Yard, draws, Kavu, trigger. Discard a card, draw a card, Arena of Glory. So if they have the Tribal Flames, they win. It's Wasescape. Would like that too, but actually, it's kind of okay. Right now, we need... What do we need right now? Payoff? E-Temp. Alright. Broodscale, do you have interaction is the question. Adapt. And if you have the bolt, you have the bolt. If you have the binding, you have the binding. You have the binding. I mean, that taps me out in full. The problem is... I wonder if the Ballista would have been right here. Because then we could have adapted at instant speed in response to the binding. But we would have then had nothing to work with, right? Yeah. So, I mean, it was an interacting check at the end of the day. We'll concede. Unfortunate. I mean, I think I played that correctly. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I did. Not much to do there. Alright, well, we'll be back for match 4. Alright, we're back for match 4 on the play for game 1. I mean, we have the Broodscale and double Fleshrake Halfling. We'll keep. We're looking for a land off top. And Yawgmoth, Halfling. Pass. Otherwise, we can always cycle the K command to find a land if needed. Not ideal, but it's an option. Marsh Flats, Fetch, 19. Thoughtseize or Fatal Push? Which is it? Swamp, Push. Thoughtseize. I mean, you have a lot of redundancy here. Probably the best pick would be Broodscales. I only run 4 in decks, so knocking me down to 3 off the top is good. Though double Fleshrake is a bit of a nightmare. Alright. Solitude, hit Halfling. Okay, so that way, basically, you're trying to cut me off. So now my best draw off top is going to be an E-Temp. Stirrings. Okay, Stirrings can find a land. There's the E-Temp we were looking for. E-Temp. We'll hold up the delay to respond in case we need to cycle K-Command. This is looking like Blink. I'm not sure why they go Swamp over a Godless Shrine, though, is my only thing. Maybe because they had the Godless Shrines in hand? Maybe. Double black. Overlord the Bailmerk. Yes, that resolves. You'll pick up Solitude. Unfortunately, I cannot interact with that. There's Solitude in hand. Yep. And draw. Ancient Stirrings. I mean, we could Ancient Stirrings, try and find another land, just to kind of keep on pace. Saga Trigger. This way you can also make constructs. And pass. 4 in hand to use Solitude. No. If they had Solitude, that would tell me they probably have a Flicker Wisp in hand to flicker the Overlord. Down to 14, 4 cards in hand. What did you pitch in the first place, actually? Oh, you pitched the Flicker Wisp. Interesting. Plains. 3. Flicker Wisp. Overlord. So Flicker Wisp may have been the only white spell in hand in that case. Would be my only thought. Well, now they have a second Solitude or a Felia. Picks up the Felia, probably have to pitch to the whatchamacallit? Solitude. Hayrmite's a turn late, unfortunately. I mean, Cake Man X equals 2, but that doesn't do too much here. I will play Hayrmite. Triggers. I think we just hold up the Cake Man, because the moment I play the Flesh Rake, they're going to Solitude, right? So I'll hold up the Cake Man. This also allows me to block with a Spawn, and then Ramp, and Scry Draw. 4 in hand, 4 lands. Emperor Bones. Emperor Bones is fine. So now I'm tempted to exile and Scry Draw. Flooded Strand Fetch. And I guess we could exile, Scry Draw, try and find Broodscale. They could just be pocketing trigger. Targets. Imagine Solitude. Trigger Overlord. I'm gonna cast in response. Exile creature and Scry Draw. And done. Breeding Pool, TKS. TKS actually is a bit interesting to me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Top, and draw. Attack for 8, down to 10, we'll take. There's Ketra. So Ketra or Solitude, they do have the Felia in hand still. They have Felia, Solitude in hand. And Felia, Solitude unknown. We'll take the 8, down to 10. We'll be down to 8. Draw. Float Saga. I think at this point Springleaf might be better. We also could go Soul Guide Lantern and exile a Yard. That is another thought, genuinely. I think we go Soul Guide here. Breeding Pool, Shock. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Trigger. See, now they have to be a little bit careful here. There's Solitude. 1, 2, 3, 4. Solitude evoking, pitching a Felia, so they have a second Felia in hand. I will not float. Fleshraker down. 2 in hand, 1 unknown in Felia. They are splashing blue, so likely does have access to whatchamacallit. Consign the side. Attack. You could Felia now, but that will fall directly into K command. So ramp, exile. X equals 3, we'll have 4. And I think this might be the game. 4 down to 4, down to 3, down to 1. No, we're close. Felia down triggers. Yeah, we're short 1. Let's see what that last card is then. Down to 1, so they can't fetch anymore. Take a peek. Land. Down to 1. Alright. We'll pass. Meticulous Archive. 1 unknown in hand. That's not enough for a Solitude. They have to be kind of careful here how they approach. Puts Flickwisp into Yard. I mean, I guess they could put Flickwisp back into hand, but does that serve any purpose? Not really. They'd have to attack with Overlord. We block with Spawn. They're at 1, so they'd need 3 blockers. So attacking doesn't feel great for them, right? An Ethem would absolutely be brutal, though. Emperor Bones, Witch Enchanter, Flickerwisp, Solitude. Chooses Ketchmos. I guess, yeah, Ketchmos does 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So yeah, we'll just do this. Block. Cast Ketro. Okay. Can't I just win on upkeep? How does Ketro read real quick? One of our cards are put in exile from graveyard and or the battlefield during your turn. Draw a card, lose 1 life. Yeah, Haywire Might wins me the game. Broodscale does too. Yes, a Broodscale. Do we win off of the Flesh Rake? Yes. Yeah, so we either win off the Flesh Rake, or because of Ketra's ability, we exile our Springleaf Drum to Haywire Might, and that would also have gotten 1 damage through. Good stuff. So that is Blink. We do want to note that it is Esper Blink, so they do have consigned memory in the side. We will want Wastecape, Battle Mage, Dismember, but no Thief. Haywire Might's decent. Soul Guide Lantern's kind of meh. Like, on one hand, it can get rid of stuff that Overlord has ability to grab. At the same time, it does enable Ketra. Cut you. Might's decent. I mean, I could cut Fleshrake Ballista instead of all of the TKS, or we could just full-on cut TKS. Because sometimes it does feel a little bit bad. Not certain on this one. Yeah, I want like this where like a Vexing Bauble would be kind of nice, admittedly. Maybe just run it like this, focus more on the combo, use Wasescape as interaction, Haywire Might as interaction. Yeah, we'll do that. They will have access to the White Orchid Phantom and Consigned Memory, so we need to be mindful of that fact. Also, yes, I only have 12 cards on my sideboard. The final three I just don't know what to put there. Maybe I should put like the Vexing Bauble and Pithy Needle, some more Saga targets. This hand's fantastic. We keep. I don't think we even want to expose the blade. I think we just go E-Temp, Fleshrake. Yeah. I mean, I don't think they have too many ways. No Prismatic Ending. Yeah, we don't want to expose the blade then. Whereas we can use the Fleshrake as bait, more or less. Thoughtseize. Takes the Broodscale again, because, again, we only run 4 copies. So taking the one from hand is probably best. Well, that's annoying. Takes a Blade. Now that's interesting, because we still have, you know, roughly 7 copies of Blade. That intrigues me. Why do that? Why Blade? Because between Saga and Blade, we can find Blade pretty easily. Down to 16. K command, please, or dismember. Delayed halfling. You're a bit late to the party, unfortunately. So they have a Felia. That much is clear to me. Fleshrake will pass. Here's the Felia. And pass. Two. Overlord. What do you hit? There's a Solitude. There's a Frog. Imagine you grab Solitude. The question is whether or not you have a white spell in hand to pitch. Felia will flicker Overlord, which will give you another pick, potentially for Witch Enchanter, which then will allow you to Solitude. Issue now becomes whether or not they have an Ephem. If they have a Solitude Ephem, then we get blown out when you play our second Fleshrake, which would kind of suck. Overlord, yep. No blocks. Down 18. Felia, trigger, Overlord. White Orchid, Flicker Wisp. Imagine, like I said, just any white spell for Solitude. Wouldn't mind seeing a Wastegate Battle Mage here. Pulls a White Orchid. Okay. Solitude pitches the Witch Enchanter. Exiles Fleshrakes. No Ephem. White Orchid in hand, though. Dismember. So in that a case, cast. Am I dumb? Should have went Glaring Flesh Rake, tapping the Temple. Would have had one left. Broodscale, sack Dismember into that. Yeah. Whoops. I'm gonna wait for them to fetch before I Dismember though. Overlord down. Yeah, that was a mistake. Because now they're gonna double hit, whatchamacallit, White Orchid Phantom. Yeah. And pass. I guess then again, I mean, they would have consigned the Glaring Fleshrake, I feel. So they don't have the consign. They have the White Orchid Phantom, land. So one unknown. Why wouldn't you? Fetch Blue to Delta. Interesting. Old Fountain. Shock. White Orchid Phantom. Okay. Yes. That is my only other force, though. Frog. Yeah, that's going to be a bit rough, admittedly. No blocks. Down to 13. E-temp. No. Of course, now we're going to draw into a blade. I mean, I guess actually that would be fine still. Second Broodscale, Breeding Pool Shock. Broodscale, trigger. Always yield. Broodscale, trigger. And always yield. Cannot attack as White Orchid has first strike. We'll pass. Alright. See what we got. What's that one card? If we just draw into a blade, we win. Imagine they float the frog, so we can't block it. Otherwise, I'll snap block it with a spawn. Yep, flip the frog. I wonder if maybe I should have played the halfling so we had at least two colorless. Flickers the White Orchid. That's 5, 6 down to 5. I'll take it. Draws, 2 in hand, land, Thalia trigger, White Orchid. I'll choose not to search so I don't shuffle. Doesn't really matter for all intent and purpose, but we are's out. Seven. Why do that now? Overlord of the Bailmerk? Solitude. Solitude hits Flesh Rake. Up to 8. Draw. Halfling. Cast Halfling. I mean, you could adapt and slam into the Solitude. I don't think that's really serving me any benefit. We'll pass. Just gonna kind of make a bit of a wall. A blade doesn't save me, though, is the problem. Because we can make a Broodscale infinitely big, sure. But that's about it. Do you float the frog? White Orchid, Frog, Felia. Felia, Flicker, Solitude. I guess not. What else do you flicker? Flicker, Spawn. Okay. So 5, 7, 8. So we need to block the frog. What are my outs here? I don't think I have many, if any, honestly. And I guess Blade? So hold on. 3, 5, 6, 7, 1. In that case, maybe just right to block Felia with Broodscale, because we find a Blade, we win. 1, 2, 1, yeah. Because we just need 4 mana at that point. And let's do this. 5, 6, 7. If we draw into a Blade and they have no blockers, we win. You pitched a what? Water Grave. Okay. Down to 1, up to 10. Last card is Catrimos. Catrimos would be a problem. Oh, actually, no, I think they're short one. No, I mean, Frog can do frog things. There's another Solitude. Wrath for 3. Spent 1. So now Blade does nothing. K command, concede. Alright. Yeah, probably gonna play that a little bit more efficiently, I think. Yeah, I guess do need to keep in mind about the Wrath of the Skies as well. Cut Gemstone. Bring back in TKS, I suppose. And run it back. Yeah, again, maybe sideboard pieces to consider. Pithy Needle, Vexing Bauble. I don't know what else I would bring in potentially. We already have the Cage available to us. Springleaf, Haywire Might. I think the Vexing Bauble will definitely be good here. On the play for game 2, I mean, we have the Halfling, we have the Stirrings, we have the Saga, K commands, we have the payoffs. We just need to find the Broodscale then. Halfling. And pass. Blue to Delta. Fetch. We're just gonna turn 1 Thoughtseize again. Yep. Push. Okay. Here's the Broodscale. Saga. Trigger. Pass. You hold the K command. We'll pass. Marsh Flats. Fetch. You play a frog. Overgrown. Not Overgrown Tomb. Gala Shrine. Frog. I know for a fact you don't play Force. So if you do that, I'm fine. No, what is this? No, okay, it is a frog. Blue-black? Perfect. Frog. A-okay with that. Draw. Another E-Temp. K command. Ramp Exile. And done. Frog is down. I'll pass 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So we have Emrakul next turn. We do have an Emrakul next turn regardless. So we could play that if they do not go shields down, forcing them to play into the Emrakul, Witch Blessed, Bolt, down to 11. Wrath the Skies for 0. That would kind of suck, actually. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So it'd be too short on the Emrakul. Yeah. Yeah, so it's definitely Wrath for 1. Unfortunate. I mean, we pass and fill, nothing we can do about that. And draw Stirrings. So 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, so we're short Stirrings. There's Blade of the Bloodchief. 2, 4, 6. So we're only going to have access to... I think we play Yawgmoth. And then do we play the Blade is the question. We'll have access to 6, so we could go for it. 6, 10, 12, short 1. Now we could play the Blade and try and bait if they destroy it. That way we can cast the Emrakul. It's a thought. Play Blade of the Bloodchief. And pass. And pass. So if they go Witch Blessed Meadow and destroy it, then we have an Emrakul and their shields down. So it's a bit of bait. Wrath of Skies as well. X1 would work. Swamp. Emperor Bones. Emperor Bones grabs K command, shrinking my Emrakul. 4, 8, 10. Emrakul's looking worse and worse for the moment. Wastecape Battle Mage. Now I really don't want to play Emrakul now, because if I do... Well, I guess I can't anyways. Do we play the Broodscale is the question. I could just Wastecape Battle Mage, bounce the Emperor Bones, but it feels like kind of meh as far as value is concerned. I feel like I'm playing into a consign here is the problem. Really. This feels like opponents just... Yeah, they've passed the turn. They have no interaction. That's wild. Always yield. I mean, they're not dead yet. They could still have Solitude is the biggest thing. And 13. No reason to play the Wasescape. Moles pass. Our turn, comrade. Solitude Ephem would be rough. They did have the Witch Enchanter. Why didn't they play it? Weird. Draw. Main. So we could go Witch Enchanter. Felia doesn't really do much here. I mean, we could Witch Enchanter just Bolt. Marsh Flats, Fetch, Surveil Land. There's Shouty Backstreet. Trigger. Ashiok does nothing. Put that on top. Is it up to 1? Destroy target artifact or enchantment and opponent controls. It does not say up to 1, interestingly enough. So no real reason to play that then. Go to combat, trigger, none, attack, block with Emrakul. And at this point, I suppose... Alright, so the Witch Blast Enchanted does nothing. Fellight does nothing. We'll pass. They have the Ashiok on top. We win. Yeah, I don't think they have a way out. Perfect. Alright, solid win against Blink. Yeah, I was definitely expecting interaction and get the blown out, but like I say, sometimes you just have to go for it. Alright, well, we'll be back for match 5. Alright, we're back for match 5. On the draw for game 1, we're looking for Broodscale. We'll keep. Yeah, butter. Yeah. Pitch the Yawgmoth. And pass. Aye, sir. Can I help the small port? I mean, you're not that small. You're 16 pounds of a very large cat. Oh. Oh, this is interesting. Saga Trigger. Soul Guide Lantern. We could attempt to draw off the Lantern. So this is Broodscale v Broodscale. Love to see... Rumble. I mean, if they find the Broodscale, they have the potential win. There's Unearth, so yeah, this is the Golgari version. Chooses E-Temp. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If I draw into Broodscale, I don't win, is the thing. I'm gonna draw a card though. Yawgmoth, trigger. Uvenwall? Ooh, that's interesting. Okay, so I have an idea then. Go Yawgmoth, and what we do then is I K-command X equals 1, scry draw. That will give us 5 mana. That's enough to play the Broodscale. Oh, I guess actually we only need is 3. Broodscale, spawn, equip. Yes. So we hold the K command and we pass. Alright, do you have the Broodscale is the question. E-Temp. Sephiroth. Triggers. Sephiroth is actually a problem because it is a mirror breaker. How do we want to process that? Sacrifice, draw a card. Well, now this gets tricksy, doesn't it? Because now we want to get rid of Sephiroth before we do anything. That's really awkward. Huh. So K command's no longer looking good. We need to get rid of Sephiroth first. In that case, put a pause on end step. I'm gonna make a construct. There's the Broodscale. Oh, that's so awkward. So I can do what now? Blade. So I have access to what, 4 mana? One, two, three, four, 5. No, 1, 2, 3, 4. I have access to 4 mana. Oh, why was I even thinking about this? I should have went for it, because then I could have Broodscaled. Sephiroth would have triggered. I then would have been able to K-command it. Yeah. Yeah. So I misplayed there. I misplayed. So we can get rid of Sephiroth. But I can no longer win this turn. Because I messed up. Because we have access to 4 mana. We can go Blade. We can Broodscale. We can equip. But then can't do anything after. I can Flesh Rake. And then I can't do anything after. So the other options, we go Springleaf. Play a land. Cast K-command. I guess the Scry Draw Exile. And done, so Sephiroth is down. Okay, there's Blade. So we lucked out, Sephiroth down. The question now is still if they just win. Yeah, so I was too focused on the fact that Sephiroth would potentially interrupt what I was doing. But had I just thought about it more, I could have just played the Flesh Rake and then K-commanded the Sephiroth before it flipped. Basically, the flip would go on the stack, I then K-command it, and then we just go off. So I should have just went with the original. Oh no, I was thinking about using the K-command for the spawn, that's right. So we would have had to have played the Flesh Rake, basically. Now there's Haywire Might. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So now they're basically playing around my Blade. We could grab a Haywire Might of our own off the Traverse and exile their Blade. That's an option. Yeah, had I played a Flesh Rake rather than holding up the K command, we would have been able to make the line work. I guess a good question is, why didn't I? I guess because I was thinking that we would be able to exile the spawn if needed if they played the Broodscale. Yeah, and that is the case. We could have gone that route if needed. There's Flesh Rake. So again, their Might is playing around our Blade. So we either need to get rid of Might. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, hold on. Rumble. They tap their green source. Okay, so we just win now, right? Turn 4. No, they haven't played a land. No, they did, because Saga. So in that case, we win. Yes. Choose Beseiju. And draw TKS. So Yawgmoth. We can, nope, we don't Flesh Rake. Instead, we will cast Broodscale. I can then play Blade, equip Blade, Springleaf for green, Traverse for Ballista, cast Ballista for 0, triggers all of our blades. Always yes, always yield. And from here we have the Flesh Rake and the win. And Phone scoops it up. Okay. Yeah. So maybe the right move, like I said, was to just have played the Flesh Rake on turn 3 rather than go for the K command. Like I said, my thought was if I held the K command and they play the Broodscale, then I can get rid of the spawn so that way they don't win. Just gave me a potential out. So that was my thought. And then we had to deal with the Sephiroth because we didn't have the ability to get to Broodscale, activate Broodscale, and equip, and then Flesh Rake before Sephiroth flipped. Yeah. Anyways, we did get there. So Sephiroth is an issue. We'll cut Dismember. Soul Guide Lantern's relevant. We do want Wasescape. Thief is also on the table. We can cut TKS. 1, 2. And then we're kind of sitting here with 2 over. I think Wasescape's probably better than Thief overall. So then maybe cut some number of Thief. Might still relevant. Hits Saga, hits Blade. Wasescape's the better between the Thief and... Alright, let's run it like this. We can bring in another Thief if we go to game 3. Yeah, I think that's right. Soul Guide, obviously, for Emrakul. Hi, sir. Are you having fun being stretched out? Yeah, me and I'll keep this. We'll pass. We just need a payoff. Forest, Springleaf, pass, draw. There's the Flesh Rake. Halfling, pass. And pass. Ancient Stirrings. Beseiju. Saga trigger. Draw. Breeding Pool, Shock. Flesh Rake. And pass. So we have the win if they give us a window. If they hold the Besiju, that's okay because we have a second blade. E-Temp. Draw. Haywire Might. So let's start with Springleaf Drum. Trigger. Always yield. This is mana neutral. Blade of the Blood Chief. Again, mana neutral. I suppose we could play the Haywire Might. Haywire Might. Always yield. Do I need to play the blade right now? No. Triggers. I mean, do you have interaction? Oh, I should have... Okay, so I misplayed there. If they have a K command, we're kind of off. I should have Haywire Mighted their Saga. It would have set them down 2. Yes. I misplayed. Attempt to equip. Do you have a K command? If you have a K command, you're in a much better position than if you have a... whatchamacallit? Besiju. If you just have the Besiju, then we're fine. Yeah, I should have tapped green, exiled Saga, phase changed. From there, then gone off. Because then we would have been able to win. Yeah, shoot. Exile. So that is on me. I misplayed. I'll exile your Saga. Gain 2 life. Beseju's still up. Yeah, so we misplayed. I realized it after. I was like, well, if they have the K command, I was like, oh, I could have played around K command. So that was a missequence on my part. We should have played the Might, should have sacked the Might, exiled the Saga, would have put them down to only X equals 1. That would have protected the Broodscale. Yeah. Triggers. Unfortunate. Combat. I mean, the game's not over, but we're just not as good of a spot as we... I mean, we could have just won, right? We could have just won, and we would have been going to our wrap-up. But I made a mistake. I wasn't thinking about it. I was focused more on the Besiju. I was like, oh, we can play around the Besiju, and then as soon as I cast, I'm like, oh, we could have played around the K command. Yep, just was not thinking about it. A tad bit annoying, admittedly. We have Dismember available to us, so we have good interaction there. We're still at 10. We have 7, or we have 3, 5. We have a theoretical 5 damage on board, putting them down to 5. So we might be able to redeem ourselves and still eke out a win. But yeah, a little bit disappointed I didn't notice the line sooner. But lessons learned. I think this is my first or second game playing with Haywire Might in the deck. So just wasn't thinking about the line. Flesh Rake. Wasescape. Hey, look at that, Wasescape. Bit annoying, but fine. Landmore Wastes. They could Beseiju. Dismember. Equip the blade. Dismember the Wastscape. You could use Beseiju, pop the blade, that would be fine. Yes. Yes. And worst. Escape down, go to combat. Down to 7. Three cards in hand, there's E-Temp. Looking like a K command, X equals 3 at the very least. It would deal with the Flesh Rake. Yep. So Flesh Rake down, Scry draw. So I need to just draw into some threats here. That way we're just not beating them in the face with a halfling, ideally. And draw. Another blade. Equip blade. Go to combat. I do want to hold my colorless source, so I'm not going to sack the spawn unless I have to. Stirrings. Opponent's down to 6. Haywire Mite. 2, 3, Flesh Raker. 1, Dismember, black, tap, and black. Blade trigger, Flesh Rake, Might, and Over Entomb tapped. Green, target blade, triggers. So the halfling will grow. That is notable. Draw. Stirrings. Glaring Flesh Rake, Saga, or Wastscape. There's also another blade. I mean, Wastscape can bounce the Eldrazi spawn. Yes, Wastscape. So I'm going to kick for blue, green, color. Need to go white, colorless, bounce, combat. 3, down to 5, 1 in hand, lethal on board. Did I redeem myself from punting earlier? Or nearly punting? 2 in hand. How many types do you have in yard? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. No. Don't do it. Don't you dare. Okay, you did. Did you not? You did not. Sethroth? It'd be a 3/3. 1 card in hand. Hi, sir. Paying cost for Ballista X1. And draw. Ancient Stirrings. I can't K command, but we could Beseiju Ballista. Could do that. sir. What are you doing? Could Beseiju Ballista. Is that worthwhile? They ping halfling and basically just threaten from there. Otherwise, we Broodscale. Could Broodscale. I will play Broodscale. We can attack with halfling. You could block and ping. Down to 2. We hold. You'll need 3 blockers. I guess not, no, because you'll gain life off of Sephiroth. Yes. So I can only attack with Broodscale and halfling them. 1 card in hand, and Emrakul would absolutely hose me. Forest, okay. They grow the Ballista. Draw. K command. Okay, so in that case, we're gonna go to combat. I guess I shouldn't have attacked with a halfling if I wanted a K command though. I guess that's true. So you can attempt to ping down the Wastscape. You have to block both no matter what. That match is a matter of fact. Block. The damage. Ping Wastscape. But then I just float green. And then adapt, which will put you dead. Why didn't you attack with both? Or why didn't you block with both? You needed to, right? Triggers. You gain a life, but now you take 3. Wait, you take... How did... Oh, you're at 2. Huh? Trigger on the... Oh, because 2 died, duh. Okay. Yes, that makes sense. Alright, we have K command on board. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We could exile Sephiroth. 1 card in hand. Opponent's down to 1. I don't think they can flip it. And even if they were, does it have lifelink? No, just flying. Any number of creatures? Any number of other creatures. I was about to say, if it's any number of permanents, that could be pretty insane. Alright, did we somehow claw this back from me punting it away earlier? I can still draw lands here. Felt that, man. I felt that. To be fair, if I had not fumbled earlier, then the game would have already been over. But lesson learned. Obviously, if I had just noted more clearly that opponent had 4 Eldrazi mana, 4 K command, before casting the Broodscale, I could have Haywire Might, Exile, Saga, Phase Change if they just floated. And then from there, played Broodscale and won. So, bit of a misplay on my part. Thankfully, we're able to claw it back, so I'll take the wins where I can. And we'll take our lessons where we can as well. But that there will end today's video at a 4-1 record at the end of 5. Our main loss to Zoo. I mean, I'm not sure I could have done too much there in that matchup. It was pretty tight, just came down to them having the right cards. This version feels good. I feel pretty happy with this version of Broodscale. There's still some cards that are just drastically underperforming. Malevolent Rumble is one of them. And across me and a few other pilots where we're seeing a very clear trend of Rumble just not performing well. It definitely enables some lines of Broodscale, you know, turn to Rumble, play Broodscale, equip Blade, and then you're able to combo off from there, right? So it definitely has its merits. I just wish that its win percent was better and that its opening hand data was better. I still think that I'm not the best pilot with this deck. I think that I'm proficient, maybe above average, but I definitely have some lines that I'm missing. I think for sideboard, I might just add some more Saga targets. I'm thinking Pithy Needle, Vexing Bauble. I'm not sure what the other one would be. We already have Grafdigger's Cage in there. So I have to give that some thought maybe. But overall, the deck feels good. I think it is very meta dependent on how good Broodscale is. If the meta has a lot of cheap interaction, then, you know, it very much is an interaction check deck. I forget what I compared it to before. Yeah, I completely forget. But yeah, it's interaction check dot deck. If your opponent has interaction, you kind of just sit there going, well, do I have more Flesh Rakers? You know, do I have Flesh Rakers to try and close things out? Do I not? If not, then you just kind of hope for the best. If they don't, then just win. In some ways, it kind of feels a good comparison was kind of Neobrand, where if, you know, your opponent has interaction, then Neobrand kind of just fumbles. I think Neobrand has less of a mid-range backup plan in comparison to Broodscale, where Broodscale still does have the ability to just beat you down with some, you know, 3/3s, 4/4s, Glaring Flesh Rake, Ballista can grow big and ping you down. So there definitely are some good backup plans. There's the constructs, of course. With the Saga targets, you have flexibility in your game plan, whether it be Soul Guide Lantern, whether it be Vexing Bauble, Haywire Might, etc., right? So there's a lot of flexibility as well that the deck presents. I'm not sure if there's better options than Rumble and Traverse. With that in mind, I think really the question is if you're on Gruul or if you want to run TKS. I kind of like TKS because it can clear the way for the combo, though Chrysalis definitely plays well into Zoo, for example, right? You know, Chrysalis plays much better into Zoo than TKS does by comparison. Sideboard, though, feels good. Wayscape, fantastic card. Thief has its moments. Dismember is just necessary. Clarion Conqueror is a target that needs to get hit, right? So I'm not sure if there's really much more to innovate on right now. I think there is some discussion around Sephiroth and whether or not that is worth playing. The deck already runs 11 payoffs in the way of K Command, Fleshraker, and Ballista. The question is whether or not Sephiroth provides more value, especially as it cannot get hit off of Ancient Sterns, which I think is really relevant. So I'm not sure if Sephiroth is good enough, in my opinion. I think it could be interesting. But our initial data from one of our pilots who's been playing Sephiroth has been pretty mid. It's been okay, not great. They weren't a fan of Unearth. The data on it also is a little bit inconclusive, but also not great. So a lot of different options and interesting things to consider. But I think my next step here is I have started updating, or rather more or less finishing the formatting and writing for my Broodscale guide. Just talking about the sequencing, giving some example hands, some card choices, stuff like that. And then probably just jamming out a sideboard matrix now that I'm kind of more solidified on the sideboard and main. So I'll make that in the coming weeks. And I think I'm going to start working on gathering some more data for Airghast Eldrazi Ramp. We found in our testing, even in Broodscale with the lab package, that, shocker, the 7-mana value spells that we were using in Sire 7, that's in Ugin and Null Drifter, even in Devourer, were good. Lab is good. 1-mana ramp is good. Obviously in E-Ramp, you're running Utopia Sprawl rather than Halfling, but the idea is still there. And that 1-mana ramp is good. The question is with Airghast, is there like more room for innovation there? Should we be running Ancient Stirrings, Devourer of Destiny? Are those worth playing? Or, is it kind of just regular E-Ramp, throw in some Airghast, call it a day? Maybe. It's hard to say, but definitely need to do some more testing there because I think I'm down to like 3 decks that I'm really like dedicated to for the RC in Las Vegas. It's either going to be Broodscale, probably the Simic version would be my guess, unless something dramatically changes with Edge of Eternities and Spider-Man. E-Ramp, traditional. Whether that be Karn or Karnless, depends on the meta. I think right now, based on the meta, I think Karn is right. Or Airghast E-Ramp. I think it comes down to those 3 lists. If you guys have other lists in that same vein that you want me to test, let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to start working on E-Ramp and Airghast, just gathering some more data, solidifying those lists before Edge of Eternities and Spider-Man. And then I might start looking at Standard a bit, especially with the recent bans. There's a lot of shakeup in Standard, and I don't think anyone's really doing any significant data work in Standard. I don't think any pilots or teams are really doing data-driven deck design. And with a format truly in flux, especially of rotation, I think it will allow for some really interesting deck design choices and exploring different archetypes. So I'm thinking of doing that for maybe not next season, but at the very least the season after, so it would be in the new year. So that's something that I am considering. So that's something that you're interested in, let me know down in the comments. I know when I posted like some Standard videos before, they didn't really perform all too well, so I kind of got a bit deterred from there, but I think it could be interesting now that I have more support in the way of my community, in the way of Thinker specifically, who does an amazing job processing all the data that I generate. So shout out to Thinker for always being amazing in that regard. So those are my initial thoughts. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think across the board. What other decks should I test in Modern? Should I go back and revisit E-Aggro? I know that we have one community member who's really dedicated themselves to E-Aggro, has recently released a sideboard guide and deck guide, which has gotten some really good reviews, so definitely would check them out. Let me actually pull up their name real quick so I can shout them out proper. Vegas Sunny, Vegasonee. They've really been hammering away at e-aggro. The list looks very similar to what we were playing, with some exceptions, like they still have Chalice of the Void main, which we cut, but maybe Chalice is good. We'll have to take a look at their guide and see if that is correct, and maybe revisit that as well. I don't think it's competitive enough for an RC, in my personal opinion. That's my opinion. Um, Maybe that will change with Edge of Eternities. Some really interesting Eldrazi already, with that one warp Eldrazi, which could be really cool for 4 mana. Because I'm thinking like turn 1 E-Temp Herald, turn 2 Line Break, turn 3 the Warp Creature, which is I think like a 6/4, and then you're able to swing in, haste it, and then when it leaves the battlefield from the warp trigger, you put in, I don't know, a TKS. I guess it wouldn't be a TKS, it would be a three mana spell. So like another, so it could be a Flesh Raker, could be another Herald, could be another Line Breaker. I don't know if you're running Shaper. So there's a lot of cool, interesting things I think that can potentially come out of Edge of Eternities for e-aggro, and just Eldrazi in general. So I think Edge could shake things up a bit. Either ways, I'm excited. But on that note, I'm going to end my long-winded ramble. As always, if you guys did enjoy the video, please do consider hitting the like button, comment down below if you did see any lines that I missed, any mistakes that I made, or any general feedback. It is always appreciated. For as much as I hope that y'all learn from me in both my success and failures, I hope I can learn from you all as well. Last but not least, if you have reached this point in the video, please do consider hitting the subscribe button, as we're getting closer and closer to our next goal of 1,000 subscribers. At which point, I'll be able to start monetizing my videos, allowing me to save up towards a stream PC, so I can stream live over on Twitch. In the meantime, though, if you do want to support me monetarily, you can do so over my Patreon, where you get early access to my new videos, and any updates I make to my deck guides. With that being said, I will see y'all next time. Bye-bye!